Okay, so this is part two. If we want to do it in parts, whatever. Of making 57% sourdough bread with bread flour. The starter took longer than I thought it would. It's now 3 o'clock. I thought we'd be into this at least a couple hours ago, and we're not. So let's pick up where we need to be. I'll take the starter out of the sourdough home, turn it off, and you can see that it's done pretty well. Looks really nice. So it's ready to go. And I do need the spatula to get it out of there. So we'll put that there. Okay, so here I have 500 grams of bread flour. And here I have 10 grams of salt. And so what I do is I put the salt in with the bread flour. Let me put it where you can see it better. And then I mix it in, distribute it well. The other way I do this is I will dissolve the salt in the water that we add. But this time I'm going to just dissolve it in the flour. Or not dissolve it, but just mix it into the flour pretty well. Just distribute it pretty well. Okay. Now we're going to get our water. Let's turn this on. We need 250 grams of filtered water. Now I use filtered. Make sure that's right. Yeah, 250. I use filtered water because we are on a municipal water source, and if I use the water straight out of the tap, it has chlorine and stuff in it. So I just use filtered water. Make it easy. I went over a little bit. We know how to solve that problem. We just grab our little ladle. And 250. There we go. Piece of cake. Okay, so I'm going to put, yeah. There's the water, goes in the mixer. Now I need 30 grams of, a little bit of salt stuck in here. I need 30 grams of olive oil. I put olive oil in my, let's tear this. I put olive oil in my sourdough. Spilled it. Let's try and do this without spilling it. All right, 30. Okay. All right, and I'll put that in there. Sometimes what I will do is when I warm my water, especially when it's really cold in the kitchen, when I warm the water, I will just add the water or add the olive oil to the warm water. That way, I don't lose as much. Okay, so put this on speed 1, the first mark, turn it on. Now we're going to put the starter in. Remember, I made a little bit extra starter, so I don't have to worry about completely wiping it clean of everything in there to make sure I get all the starter that I need. I have extra in here, so I'm not going to really stress over Not getting it all out. Just get the majority. Okay. There we go. We'll let that mix around a bit. Sometimes it needs a little help. You can spin it. There we go. That looks pretty good, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to add the flour, about a half a cup at a time. And we're going to watch it get, eventually it'll get shaggy. I like to try and get it to incorporate as much as I can, especially with the first few drops of flour that I put in. Towards the end, it's really difficult to get it to incorporate because it's just so dry, which is fine. That's what it's supposed to be. You can see I have the roller about an inch or so away from the wall. When the dough is thin like this, it really doesn't matter, but when it becomes a ball, it'll keep the arm from thumping as it passes between. I can move it to get some of that dry stuff in the middle there. Okay, it's starting to thicken up. This is to the point where I just can't get it to incorporate before I add more. The rest of them. Okay. See if we can't get this to pick up the dry flour. Pick up the dry flour. It's in the middle there. You see, it's done a pretty good job. Okay, now I'm going to wet a towel with warm water. Maybe warm water. Put a little warm up. That looks good. See how dry and shaggy that looks? It's in the 30s outside today, so it takes a little bit longer for the water to warm up. All right, now I'm going to put this over it, and I'm going to let it rest for an hour. At this stage, some people call it autolyze, some people call it fermentalize, some people call it salt, something I don't remember. Anyway, but because I have the starter and the salt both in there at this time, it's not really a true autolyze, but I'll say autolyze because that's the term people recognize. when you say it's going to rest for an hour. So that's where we're at right now. We're going to sit here and let it rest for an hour. Let me set the timer. Hey Siri, set a timer for 1 hour. Come on. Hey Siri. Hello Siri. Hey Siri, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour counting down.
There we go. Okay, so we'll pick this up in an hour, and we'll see what it looks like.